Hello, hello. Good afternoon because it's 3 p.m. and 30 minutes. So in the British they said 13 past 3 p.m. I am coming back again on the camera and with a big smile. I'm not smiling by the way, but I'm kind of happy. And today is Sunday. It's Sunday, March 1st. Okay, it doesn't feel like March 1st simply because the last month only has, when I say last month, I mean like yesterday, it has 28 days. So it's the shortest month of the year with less than 30 days, which means we kind of get robbed, right? If you have been a professional and you do a lot of events and you do a lot of work every single month, February doesn't feel like it's a productive month because the days are shortened. So it feels like we're missing something out, right? So that's why it feels like today feels like we are still in February. It doesn't feel like we're in March. But anyway, today is March 1st. It's a new month of 2026. Okay, so it's the third month we're heading into. Yesterday was like February 1st. Yesterday was like January 1st. So time goes really fast, and here we are. Last month I spent time in the snow, heavy snow. I didn't know things would get better, but here we are. The temperature is around 12 degrees Fahrenheit outside, which is like about 65 degrees. So very positive and very nice indeed. But it's getting warmer. Okay, my chocolate is drying out. It's getting it's getting warm. I can feel it. No, it wasn't like yesterday. But anyways, the snow is dried out. However, there is still more snow somewhere. Like once in a while, you can see water dripping out. Tomorrow on Monday, on March 2nd, it's gonna snow again, and the temperature is going to drop from 12 degrees Celsius to like 2 degrees Celsius. So like from 65 degrees right now, about 70 degrees, down to like 35 degrees. So it's gonna drop dramatically tomorrow on Monday. It's gonna snow a little bit. The snow is still up as far as I can remember. I checked the calendar, I checked the weather map. It still says, still says it's gonna be 60 degrees, and you can see the thing, but it's gonna see 60 degrees of snow, which is it's not that much, but it's gonna be a lot. Then so it says here 2 degrees. Then on Tuesday it's going to rain. The rain is going to be mixed with snow. Then on Wednesday it's going to be raining. Then Thursday is going to be raining as well. So you won't see the sun until Friday. And on Friday, from tomorrow's Monday all the way to around next Monday, the temperature is going to rise. It's going to go from 2 degrees to 9 degrees to 17 degrees to 23 degrees to 24 degrees. And the next Monday is going to be 25 degrees. That's like 70, close to 80. So it's going to be really, really hot. So the snow is going to come in and dry out immediately. So this is, I guess, positive thing. I don't know. But anyways, that being said, we are getting out of the snow, and we have a lot of days going to be sunny and raining moving forward until September or October/November this year. So that being said, again, it's Sunday. I went to the church, the mass, and I also just learned that there's a church basilica. There's also a church for the school. So I've been going to basilica. I thought that the basilica was the actual church for the school, but it's not. It's a church designed specifically for the school, for us students. That's why when I was there, everything looked like everybody was old. Also, the basilica only hosts people who are traveling. people travel from around the country, around the world, to Basilica, specifically to go there and worship. Okay, so when I made a video about the Basilica, I wasn't actually aware that there was a church. Somebody told me today that there's actual church for the school. So I will see one day. I will see one day if I can go to church for the school. It's designed for the school, not for the Basilica, not for the traveling and the Roman stuff. Okay, now this week so much happened. All right, so much happened. On Friday, I had a conference, an economic conference. I was volunteering. I mentioned this many times, and I went there for volunteering. And this was on Friday, right, in this area. When I was volunteering, I received the news, right, the news from the Hill on the news channel that Marco Rubio was traveling to Iran or somewhere. I don't know if it's Iran, whatever. But anyway, he was going to meet with Iranian diplomats to resolve the issues of the Iranian regime and their own Islamic regimes, right? The news, but then this was like around noon, in the morning at 10 a.m. Then by noon, Trump, whom we know, Trump has been one of the worst president in the U.S. in the domestic, but the best president when it comes to communication. Trump's communicate doesn't hide anything. So he said that he was dissatisfied. I don't have the news. I cannot pull up the news right now. I think it's gone. But he said he was unsatisfied by the regimes from Iran, how they negotiated with the peace and nuclear de-escalation in the Middle East. When Trump said something like that, something's not gonna go well. So I knew something was not going okay. But then this was on Friday, and then there was other things going on Friday. And I think Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were testifying in the Congress. So nobody cares as much. But then, and also I did not know what's going on in the Middle East. I've been mentioning many times how I hate the Iranian regime, but I didn't know that US was actually involved in the negotiations and other discussions going on. I knew last year Trump ordered the B-2 to go and bomb the nuclear sites, which they did, but then it was announced that they were also building a new nuclear site, so they didn't stop building new ones. Anyway, so as I was on conference, I was keeping an eye on the news, but the news was kind of boring, except Trump talked about how he didn't like the way the negotiation was going. And then I came home on Friday, and then okay, I don't know what happened. Apologize, but my camera became corrupt, so I don't know why. So I had to go and turn the camera off, but turn back on again. So luckily the video did not get corrupted. So I'm gonna keep talking. Also I'll talk about the when I came back from, and I went to the volunteering, making a video for African American Festival film, and then when I was filming around noon, I received the news again from the news channels that stating that that US has and Israel has officially launched an attack on Iran. Okay, so now Israel has attacked Iran before, so it wasn't a big deal. But recently, US has been increasing a huge diplomatic presence, military presence, not diplomatic, but military presence in the Middle East. They have deployed hundreds of ships. They're talking about big ships and airplanes, warlords, well-trained soldiers, in the region of the Middle East. So Israel was well aware that anytime they can attack, and they would have a U.S. backup. Because remember, Israel is the biggest enemy of Iran, and Iran hates Israel because of the United States. So Iran attacked, and they had a huge fight. Actually, they killed more than like 200 people plus died in Iran, in the region of Tehran. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the city. They also attacked like the other parts of the region is in Iran. The war was going on for quite some time, and then Iran responded. Instead of attacking Israel, which they did attack Israel, a lot of the bombs were intercepted by those iron domes. People went to the shelter or whatever. So whatever happens in the Middle East, whenever there's shootings, they always have the shelter in place. Because I was getting this news all the time. I get updated all the time by the news channels here in DC. That's the beauty of living in DC, is to have these updates all the time. Then a few hours later, Trump announced that the U.S. has attacked Iran. They have destroyed all their nuclear, all their generals and their military sites and everything. And then Iran responded with a more nuclear response, and they attacked other countries like Qatar, I think Saudi Arabia. All Middle Eastern were attacked. Afghanistan, all their neighbors were attacked. They responded pretty aggressively for the anger. And then after that, I left what I was doing. Like the event ended at like 4 p.m. and I drove home. I left here around 5 p.m. Got into the house, and as soon as I looked at my phone, I received even more news. This news specifically came from Israel. The news was saying that the leader of Iran, his name is Ayatollah, has been officially killed. He died in the Israeli attack. Now, the U.S. news was behind. There was not really like news in the U.S. So I received this news specifically from Israel, because Israel has the best intelligence in the world, especially for their own region area. They have intelligence within Iran, so they know everything going on over there. So they pronounced him dead, and then by 6 or 7 p.m. that's when the news from the United States came up and confirmed that he actually died. And then Trump came out and then pronounced him dead. And then around 10 p.m., I think that was 9 p.m., another news came from the Iran state media announcing that the Ayatollah is officially dead, like he died. So that being said, right now as we speak, the Iranian regime is trying to appoint a new leader who's going to be taking over the government, repressing the Ayatollah. So why do I make so much emphasis on Iran? First of all, I have many Iranian friends who are either Christians or who are this region is called Baha'i, and these people mostly come from the Persian community. And the regime in Iran is a very Islamic regime that does not recognize other religions. On top of that, they want to force, sort of like Islamist ideologies on the people, which is very, not good, right? But that's not the reason why I or anyone in America cares much about Iran. There is a series of events that has been happening recently, right? You had the Trump administration has attacked Venezuela, arrested the president over there. Now they are proceeding to attack, Iran. and there could be more companies, more countries are coming up. Right? There's going to be, yeah, there's going to be Cuba is on the list. I know for a fact Cuba is on the list. North Korea is on the list, right, of those countries, and then obviously then other countries that are not super bad, but they are in sort of like a gray zone. Those could be countries like Russia and China, who are obviously also playing the game of negotiations, because Iran was playing the game of negotiation, which didn't work out well for Trump, So anyways, now these countries in particular, because people may ask themselves like, why don't you talk about Africa, right? African countries, they have a lot of bad regimes, right? Bad governments. But something to know here is that Africa as a whole, the whole entire country of Africa, continent of Africa, does not have the developments. There has never been anything in history showcasing Africa being the most developed. Okay, like advanced weapons or advanced infrastructure or advanced governments or advanced democratic. Okay, so most African countries, they are developing. So because they are developing, the US does not really like spend so much resources on them in terms of like overthrowing their regime. Okay, unless those governments in Africa, they are indirectly affecting the United States. Okay, so when there is a bad regime in Africa, like dictators staying in power for so long, the government is trying to see ways they can help out. Maybe give out some, some donations, some money, some help, some loans, right? So it's what the US does. It does not really involve in the military unless it's required, unless it's getting out of control. That's when the United States gets involved. Sometimes the other countries do get involved, which I'll talk about this later on in this video. But we don't focus more on Africa now, because they never show us that they were developed in the first place, right? They were never developed in the first place. They're just like developing now. They were never considered to be developed world. In countries like Iran, however, let me start with countries like Venezuela. Venezuela was developed really fast. Venezuela was thriving, good economy, minerals, right? Everything was fantastic. They were using their mineral resources perfectly. However, there was a problem. They had the highest income inequality, right? And because of that income inequality, it led to the poor working class to rise up to power, which we see Maduro. Maduro is from a poor working family, and when they rose to power, they became very socialist. They started killing or kicking out all the rich people, or the people who had the money. Instead of fixing the problem, they got rid of the people. They see rich people as as enemies, as bad, and that led to the collapse of government like Venezuela with sanctions and bad regime, and that indirectly affects the United States, because in the United States, when a country thrives, when a country becomes successful, it attracts investors. Those investors can include American investors, right? So when the country collapses, investors are affected. So America had to step in to protect its own interests. That's why in Africa nobody cares, because in Africa there are very few people in America who are investing in Africa. There are very few Walmarts, there are very few Amazon, very few corporations working there, so no one cares. China, US cares a lot, okay? And also Africa is a very like an isolated region, continent. It doesn't border any other continent, so there's no direct effect of trade or supply chain. All right. So that being said, no one cares really now that much about Africa. Now, the Iran, however, similar to Venezuela, it was a very developed country. Okay, very successful. However, just like Venezuela, they also had income inequality, like the way we see in America, income inequality. Rich people and the poor people, the gap was huge. Instead of solving the problem by diplomats and through the rule of law and constitutional law, the working class rised up with Islamic leaders, seeing themselves as being threatened by the Western imperialism, the Western success of businesses and ideas and Christianity and freedom of expression. So they rised up and they started basically imposing Islamic regime. This is not long ago. This was like 1970s. All this happens at the same time. Okay, so just like that, is Iran became completely corrupt. Like the government went down. I have many Iranian friends here who are very smart. Just like people in Africa, we are very successful. Just like we happen to have bad governments, but we are very smart people out there that wants to do good things, right? But when the regime takes over, and there is a divide between the upper class and the middle and the lower class, things get really really bad. So okay, that's the reason why people focus more on Iran, and also in countries like North Korea was a very successful country, and then the regime took over and things went south. China was in the same boat, but things changed somehow. They became more open to society, and China does not have like a religious belief. They are more towards developments and communal or communism. Okay. So anyways, so that's the kind of history behind the politics of the entire world. So as the Iran, however, did not stop, they, they, they started expanding. Neighboring countries started to war, Iraq, Afghanistan, uh, you know, um, started fighting each other. I mean, the war went on for years, right? We know Saddam Hussein, the attack of 9/11, right? The Islamics, Iran started supporting different groups. That includes the Houthis and the groups that shoot Israel recently, which is Hamas, supported by Iran. Even in the United States, Iran has a huge influence with the own Islamic um, rhetoric, especially among the African American community in the United States. So it's not a secret that the FBI keeps watching and keeps an eye out for this regime, that these influences. Iran did not stop there. They had an influence in Yemen. You can see how Yemen is struggling. That's thanks to Houthi, which was supported by Iran with nuclear weapons. So did the Somalia. So did the Sudan. So did some parts of Northern Africa and West Africa, like Nigeria, for example, Mali. While so areas like which other country is this? Cote d'Ivoire, right? Ivory Coast, right? So they have been expanding. Iran has been expanding really fast. Now, for me, I did not care as much. I did not care until Iran regime went out of control. They went to Africa, in Uganda, and they started kind of influencing the government. And I saw that, I was like, nah, I don't like that. I saw this was at 2023 when obviously we have the Democrats in power who are somehow stupid, kind of retarded. They didn't do much. They didn't follow up. But I saw the regime from Iran, especially Ayatollah, when he went to Uganda and he gave a speech with Museveni, president of Uganda, who's been powerful for 40 years. I saw that and I was like, this guy is going to influence Africa and he must die. So I've been tracking the U.S. intelligence, like U.S. diplomats and strategic missions and the operations in the Middle East, and they knew that they were going to destroy that guy. He was not going to kill. But when I saw him, like I have a sense of seeing somebody and be like, this person is bad. He does not need to live. So anyway, so here the guy's dead, and they're going to appoint a new leader soon, a new minister, and not a minister, but a supreme leader. And hope that leader will be able to bring peace in the Middle East, and eventually there will be some developments. Iran is a good country. It has smart people. Again, like I say, people are very smart. They can, they want trade, they want freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Or they both Muslims and Christians both can live in the same country, survive. It's a big country in the Middle East, pretty large, very big, historical. Right, I took the class in about Iran in my undergrad, so I know much about the history. And I have many Iranian communities here in DC, very good community. So that being said, just came here to say the news that the guy is finally gone, and I'm pretty sure the Iranian community, who are now facing a huge amount of inflation and travel bans and sanctions, will have freedom to express themselves. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I was supposed to talk about Trump's State of the Union, but obviously, damn, look at this lady. This one is so big. She has big breast, big butt. She just came out the door. I didn't know it was a human. But anyways, I shouldn't be saying that on the camera. But anyways, the whole Middle East now, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be peaceful. It's gonna be calm, especially in areas like Israel and Jordan and Egypt. Those are the biggest target, because they just cannot fight the regime like Iran, which supports the local militias to do bad things, right? And they do this intentionally so that they can, impose their power and expand. And no one is saying expansion is a bad thing, but they are doing it for the wrong reason, right? If they could be doing it at least for the economic reasons and developments, that would be great. But they're not interested in developing. They're interested in imposing their own religious beliefs, right? Which is not good for development. So that's all for today. And I don't like when I'm making a video and somebody opens the door, because it can be hard in the camera. But that being said, I am really tired, so I'm gonna go to sleep, and I need to take a nap. It starts getting windy outside. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this beautiful weather on Sunday. This video won't be uploaded until probably next week. This month is going to be a really busy month, because this is the month I'm going to be doing a lot of research papers and writing and looking for a job, and it's stressful. Also, I just want to say that when I went to the conference, everybody was saying the same thing. There's no jobs opening right now, so it's becoming like a normal thing that there's not that many jobs opening. But maybe the reason why jobs are not opening is because there's a war going on, So that's what I have for today. Thanks for watching. Like always, ciao, adios, and happy Sunday. Spasiba. Bye bye. Thank you.